Welcome, poinsettia lovers. This is Matt Moorfeld from Matt's Greenhouse in Fort Madison, Iowa. As you can see from the background, we're a poinsettia grower, and we're here today to talk to you about selection and care and transportation and enjoyment of poinsettias. When we go to pick out poinsettias, there's a couple of things we should look for. One, of course, is a nice, healthy plant with the flower still intact in the middle of the bract, and nice foliage all the way down and dark green foliage. If the foliage has dropped off, we want to be leery of that because that might not be quite as nice a plant. So that is a picture perfect poinsettia. And then when we get that poinsettia, it's more than likely going to come in a sleeve like this. And we transport it. This is to protect it from physical abuse and from cold temperatures. We want to get it between the store and our home, or the fundraiser in our home, and keep it warm, not letting it freeze or go below 55 degrees. Then when we get it home, we want to carefully pull it out of the sleeve. Voila, the poinsettia. And then from there, we're going to put it in a spot in our house that is bright, but let's avoid direct hot sun right in front of a window because it will sunburn a little bit, and avoid the direct air from a heat vent. That is not good for it. When we talk temperature, a little cool is better than too warm. Ideal for this plant in our home, 65 degrees. But if you like it comfortable at 70, and that's where you're going to enjoy this poinsettia, by all means, put it where you're going to enjoy it. So when we look at this, these are in a little cover. The pots have drainage in them. The cover does not. So it sits in there, and this holds water. So when we go to water this poinsettia, if we overwater it, the extra water will sit in here. So people will ask me how often and how much. This depends upon how dry and warm your house is, but here's the rule of thumb. 8 ounces. That's a coffee cup. So we're putting a coffee cup worth of water on this, more than likely every 3 days. How do I tell too much? I take this off the next morning, and if I dump out water, too much. If I dump out dry, just right. So if we do that and we check it every 3 days, this is going to continue to be a nice poinsettia that we will enjoy the entire season. So what happens when it dries out? Here's a poinsettia where this one is dry, and you can see the leaves have collapsed, and some of these will come back, but some will not. Now, I got to caution you though, that sometimes being too wet can give similar symptoms, but typically that's the look of too dry. How long will I enjoy this? Well, when my wife Beth throws ours away at the end of January, they're still pretty. So a well-maintained poinsettia is something you will enjoy real easily for 2 months. And then for the person that loves doing it, they're going to enjoy them till spring and plant them outside. I get the question every year, what's new in poinsettias? And I tell them most of our new varieties are subtle to the consumer because that marble probably looked like last year's marble, even though it's a whole new variety and it's much improved. So when you go to look for them, there are a lot of options in poinsettias. Different colors, different shapes, different sizes. We grow them as little as in a 4-inch pot, as big as in a 10-inch pot. Really, it kind of depends upon the area you want to put. What's exciting this year is our white. New varieties in white, and they're truly white. 2 years ago, if I would have showed you this, you would have said, that's yellow. Our whites now are very white, and they're very stunning. And that's probably the biggest change. Probably the number one question I get about the production of poinsettias is, when did you start your poinsettias? So we'll walk up through that a little bit. In July, we start with a cutting about this big that comes to us from Central America. We have breeding facilities we use. We have about 3 different facilities that we buy from. They cut them on Saturday. We have them on Tuesday, and we root them right in this pot in this facility. From rooting them, then they get pinched and they get spaced out. We do about 50,000 poinsettias, and that's about 3 acres of greenhouses growing poinsettias. We really like the poinsettia crop, and it is a crop that we're continuing to expand. Production. This poinsettia gets soil tested every week, and we monitor the pH and the fertility level and adjust our feed this plant gets based on those readings. It gets measured every week, and that gets grafted so that we make sure this poinsettia is right on schedule to be the product that we want when you buy it from your fundraisers or in the store. What I'm holding in front of you there, it's a Jingle Bells type. This is our perfect spec. We spec these to be about 16 inches in a 6-inch pot with a full bloom from 5 to 7 blooms at this stage. And this is one that our grower Bill did a perfect job of growing for your enjoyment.